We're going to actually start our new series today, a topic that we could probably talk about for eternity. And actually, you'll get to do that if you have a relationship with Jesus. That will be the main topic, will be how awesome God is. And that's what we'll be talking about in heaven. So why not start now, right? Why not talk about him and learn as much as we can about him? Today, we're going to be focusing specifically on the deity of Jesus Christ. Does anyone know what the word deity means? Oh, I should let you know. I'm going to start giving away prizes when people answer.
Like starting today?
Yeah, I don't have, I got gold coins. Yeah, I do have a prize, but not here right now. So, no, it's not an iPad. They're like real prizes. So sometimes it might be a block of cheese, if you like cheese, or it might be, a chocolate bar or something like that. It might be something. So anyways, I'll ask the question again in light of that. Does anyone know what the word deity means? Me?
3 in 1?
That's a good shot at it. That you might be thinking of the word Trinity. It's related to a Latin word, which is Deus. Jack, what? Tell us what you. No pressure. You just want a candy.
No, I don't need a candy. I don't know what you have back there, but I think deity means spiritual being.
Yeah, that's probably getting there. Deus is a Latin word for God, and it's this idea of having a divine status or like having kind of a God quality or a God nature. That's where that word comes from. Do you guys remember the holiday we just celebrated like a couple of weeks ago? Yes, and if you're Ukrainian, even last week, I guess, Ukrainian Christmas, we celebrated that Jesus came to the world. And the thing that's crazy about Jesus is that he has two natures. He's both divine and he is also human. We say that he is fully God and he is fully man. That's what we're talking about today, and it's amazing. So hundreds of years before Jesus even came into the world, there was a prophecy in Isaiah that said that a child would be born. And does anyone remember this text? He's going to get 3 titles. Does anyone remember some of those titles? He'll be called Mighty God. Oh, pardon me?
Emmanuel.
Yeah, that's another passage. Yeah, Emmanuel, which means God with us. Yeah, that's good. Mighty God, Everlasting. Prince of Peace, yeah. So these are kind of strange titles to give to a baby, right? When you meet a baby, you're like, hey, let's call you Mighty God. Or, you know what a good name for this one would be Everlasting Father. That's a great name for a baby. Or Prince of Peace, maybe that's one of the only ones that kind of works. So that's amazing, hey, like how Isaiah predicted that a divine baby would come and would come to save the world, right? And how awkward would it have been to be Jesus? Just imagine, say when he knows who he is, what is it like introducing yourself to people? When you meet someone new, what are some of the things you kind of want them to know about you? Like, what are some of the first things you'll say?
My name.
Yeah, your name, yeah. Yeah, like you want to talk about yourself, right? And what are maybe some things, like where were you born? Where are you from? What are your interests? What are some things you do? Imagine what that conversation would be like for Jesus. Say he came to youth group, you're like trying to get to know him. Where are you from? And oh, I'm from eternity past. I've always existed. It would be so bizarre, right? Getting to know him and like, oh, well, what did you do today? Well, I was walking on the water and I healed a bunch of hundreds of people. And imagine Jesus was one of your friends. Would it be actually weird and kind of bizarre to interact? Like, what would be the common ground? Just on the topic of introductions. So you guys know that I'm new. I've been here for the past couple of weeks, and I filmed my very first interaction with Pastor John. I want to get to know him. I want him for sure to know me. And I thought it would be interesting to film our first introductions. This is what it looked like. Isn't Pastor Jonathan a good sport? Like, okay, do this face now. And he had no idea what I was doing. So anyways, yeah. First impressions, boy, it would have been bizarre to know someone like Jesus, right? He's not just a normal human. He has this divine status. First impressions are everything. In the Bible, Jesus said that if you want to know the Father, all you have to do is look at me, because he and the Father are one. It's just incredible to think of that. We know that Jesus is divine because of some of the things that he said, some of the things that he did. And some of the things that he said, he had some amazing things that he said. He said, like I said before, I and the Father are one. Before Abraham was, I am. So you guys know Abraham, right? He lived how many years before Jesus? Hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Could you imagine just meeting someone or hey, when were you born? And you were like, oh, before Abraham, I've just always been. That would just be so bizarre. And actually, when he said that, they picked up stones to throw rocks at him, right? And to kill him. That was claiming to be divine, claiming to be God, right? Here's another thing that he said. I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Who could say that? Who could say that they saw the moment that Satan decided to leave heaven? Only someone like Jesus, right? And we have kind of a choice to make. When we read these words, we have to decide, okay, either he's telling the truth or he's a lunatic, right? Or he's crazy, or he's trying to lie and he's trying to pull the wool over our eyes, right? That's something that C.S. Lewis talks about in a book. He says that Jesus is either a lunatic, a liar, or he's Lord. He's really telling the truth. And that's the conclusion that we have to come to when we read his words. So he also said things like, I'm going to destroy this temple, which is his body, and I'm going to, in 3 days, I'm going to raise it up. And then this crazy thing, he says, a time is coming when all who are in the graves will hear my voice and come out, those who have done good things to the resurrection of life, but those who have done wicked things to the resurrection of condemnation. Who has the right to say something like that? Just a random person? Could just a random person say that? Hear my voice? My voice is going to cause people to come out of their graves? Could you imagine hearing that? And then Jesus did some things too, didn't he, to prove that he was not just a man. He did his miracles. He fed 5,000 people. He brought people back to life. He brought himself back to life, walking on water. He commanded the storm to stop. He was casting out demons. He predicted the future. He performed perfect obedience to the law. He never sinned. And then, like you said, rising from the dead. Jesus, so what we're talking about today is that Jesus wasn't just a man. He was fully man. He was completely man, but he was also fully God, and he never ceases to be God. It's crazy to think that even now he still has a body. It's like a glorified body. It's not like a normal body. So when we meet Jesus in heaven, he will still have his human nature, which is so cool because God gave us Jesus. He didn't lend him to us for just a short period of time. And because Jesus came and he was fully human, he knows what we experience. He knows what we go through, and he can help us. In the book of Hebrews, it says that he's our sympathetic high priest. He knows what it's like to go through bad things, and he's really ready to help us out. I think what I want to encourage you with, when we look at all that God did by sending his son, by showing us who he is in Jesus, he went through all of that so that we can have a relationship with him. And I just want to encourage you to make the most of that, to read the Gospels, to learn about it, to talk about it with each other, to get into Bible studies and stuff like that. The next topic that we will be doing, actually John will be teaching, and it's going to be on, it's called the excellency of Christ. So that will be next week.